Howdy folks, you're listening to Smarticus Tells History, the podcast where we discuss some of the wacky and crazy stories your friends may have told you. So sit down, have a beer or two, and let's learn a thing or two. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This week on episode number 2, we are talking about zombies, the undead, the flesh-eating, decaying corpses of what was once a human being. For the past 20 years or so now, they've been in all kinds of movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, and probably a lot of other places that I don't even know about. We've got zombies that range anywhere from the Dawn of the Dead, Resident Evil, Zombieland, The Walking Dead, Shaun of the Dead, my favorite, to the terrible zombies like those in World War Z. There were even several old black and white movies about zombies, but where did the idea of zombies originally come from? You see, unlike other creatures of the night, or day for that matter, that are portrayed in superstition, religion, and outright fear, zombies are actually clinically possible. Just the other day, I read an article where doctors were growing new cells from a pig's brain tissue that was dead. He was even able to keep those cells alive for several weeks. So you see, the possibility really is there. Now, are we going to be attempting to bring back the dead? Probably not. But we could be on the verge of extending our own lives for much longer with this new technology. Now, as it were, Hollywood would like for you to believe that the result of zombies is the firing of neurons in the brain which could cause the body to reanimate and leave only its most basic function, which is the need to feed. In fact, there are several diseases that could cause a person to have zombie-like traits. A person really could shuffle along in a catatonic state only focused on finding food. The thing is, nobody said that a dead body could perform this function. We even have a bona fide zombie research society that studies these diseases. That's right, folks, it's a real thing. Now, there is a neuropathologist there by the name of Peter Cummings. He believes that the Kluver-Bucy syndrome is a disease that mimics zombie-like behavior. Someone that is afflicted with this disease has some pretty weird and crazy symptoms. Symptoms that include a desire to put inappropriate objects in their mouths, the ability to recognize objects, dementia, and when in a catatonic state, they can become very violent. There are a few other diseases like this that essentially render humans as zombies as they cannot control what they are doing. They may even be unaware they are doing it. As it turns out, the first idea of zombies has been around for thousands of years. They date all the way back to the ancient Greeks. Now, the ancient Greeks are often referred to as the fathers of modern civilization. They were highly intelligent for their time, more so than the Egyptians. However, they were apparently so terrified of zombies that they took special precautions to prevent them. Archaeologists have discovered multiple grave sites that contain bodies covered in large rocks and numerous other heavy objects in efforts to keep them pinned in the grave, should they ever rise from the dead. We can even find mentions of how much they believe that the dead could once again roam the earth in some of the texts that ancient authors have left behind. In some Greek scrolls, there have often been writings involving necromancy and the ability of purposeful invocation to bring back and control the dead. You see, the strange thing about discovering these bodies in ancient Greece was that not all the bodies were covered in heavy objects. Archaeologists to this day are still unsure why some bodies were thought to have the ability to rise from dead, but others weren't. In fact, necrophobia, or the fear of the dead, has been in Greek history since the Neolithic era and all the way up to the present. The Greeks were actually fascinated about the practice of necromancy to a point. They believed that the dead could unlock many mysteries about the past, present, and the future. They would visit oracles such as the famed oracle of the Greek god Apollo. Now let's talk a little bit more about the commonly known myths of zombies, such as the ones based out of Haiti involving another kind of superstition known as voodoo magic. It is believed that the word zombie itself arrived from the Congo word for soul, which is Nzambe, and ended up in Haiti due to the African slaves that were brought there. You see, in the late 17th and 18th century, Haiti was known as Saint Domingue and was ruled by France, and at the time, slavery was a very large part of the workforce. France would haul in African slaves on a regular basis to help work the sugar plantations. French slavery was so brutal, in fact, that half the slaves they had to put to work died in just a few years from overworking. So what did the French do? Well, they just went and rounded up even more slaves to replace those that died. You see, unfortunately, Hollywood has changed the concept of zombies so much over the past century that the original zombie image is obscured with numerous fantasy theories. The idea of zombies that appeared in Haiti was a personification of the severely beaten and mistreated slaves. The slaves themselves believed in an afterlife they called Guinea. It was essentially believed that when they perished, they would be returned to their homeland in Africa as a free man or woman. However, because of the conditions they were living in, many of the slaves chose to take their own lives. This was not accepted in the belief of Guinea, and it was believed those souls that took their own lives would be cursed to never again return to Guinea or Africa. They instead would be condemned to walk the plantations that they tried to escape from, becoming an undead slave trapped in their own bodies but unable to use them. At some point in time after the revolution in Haiti in the 1800s, this belief turned into the full-blown religion of voodoo, a dark magic that is essentially a form of necromancy that roughly 80 to 90% of Haitians still believe in. The theory was that the zombies were raised by shamans or voodoo priests and sorcerers that were known as Bokar, that they used those corpses that they revived to do their infamous bidding. Now, do I myself believe in these zombies or that they could eventually become a real deal? No. At least not in the sense that Hollywood portrays them. I do believe that we could become infected with a disease that may give us zombie-like traits, such as the Kluver-Bucy syndrome, that could turn into a pandemic. It is entirely possible now that we will soon be a spacefaring race that we could pick up something from space that could have the same effect. Anyways, folks, that concludes this week's installment of Smartacus Tells History. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and if you have heard any wacky and crazy stories that you want told here, you can go to our Facebook page at Smartacus Tells History and leave a comment. Now, with that being said, I'll see you next time, and you guys have a wonderful, fantastic, and awesome day. Bye now.